Hello and welcome to the Full Throttle Movement. This week on the Full Throttle Movement we have this Kia Proceed GT. We have in stunning flame yellow the Kia Proceed GT, £23,000 on the road. Bit of a look here, don't you think? It's really nice in this flame yellow. What I'll do is I'll take you a quick look around the car, point out a few things and maybe take it for a drive. Okay, so let's take a look around the outside of the Kia Proceed GT just for some details on the exterior. Feeling a bit autumnal today, we've got plenty of leaves kicking about. So if we have a look here down at the front of the car, we've got your lovely front splitter there with a red accent on it. We have your xenon headlights, which are great, and then those LED side running lights is becoming a quite common theme with Kia. We've got ourselves a Michelin Pilot Sport 3 tyre on this car. It comes as standard. Some nice other wheels there, two-tone silver and dark grey. Automatic rear folding mirrors, keyless entry and ignition. There's no start-stop in this car, but there is a start-stop button, as most cars these days seem to be heading down with. Excuse the plane overhead. And I think one of the best views of this car is actually from the rear three-quarter position, because you get to see it's almost Scirocco Ford Focus-esque in its styling, especially with this rear quarter here with this rear light. It's actually got some really nice details in there. I don't know if that's going to pick that up. Got a rear reversing camera, quite a nice stance from the rear on this car. Like I said, the Michelin Pilot Sport 3s do well in keeping the grip levels pretty high on this car. Quite surprised at the amount of grip that it's got. We've got twin rear pipes here, and both of them actually do something, unlike some of the cars you see out there at the moment. And then we have the rear diffuser. Obviously, to what extent that actually does anything, I don't know, but it actually looks pretty decent, I thought. It's quite a subtle styling tweak. Plenty of space in the boot there. Have a look inside. So without holding off for any longer, let's take this car a drive and see how she goes. Hello and welcome to the interior of the Proceed GT. So let's take a quick look around just to see what it's like in here. So a lovely steering wheel. Don't know if you can see that very well. Got a lovely steering wheel, nice setup here, nice sat nav, Bluetooth system. We've also got all of your climate control features, which is quite nice. Nice dual section climate control, individually controllable if you wish. There's a fast and slow setting on the climate control, which is great. Got a three-way heated seat on each of these lovely half and half Recaro leather suede combination. Lovely GT stitching there with some red accented stitching around all of the cabin, really. So let's take a quick look at the dashboard. So here we have obviously your standard revs, speedo and fuel gauge on there, but we've got a couple of sub menus here which are accessible from the button on the steering wheel. So you've got your range settings in here, which is quite handy. You've got a double trip computer plus your miles to the gallon, including instant miles to the gallon. Then we have your turn-by-turn directions from the sat-nav come up on the central screen here in the middle of the rev counter, which is great. Make sure I'm pointing the right direction. Then you have obviously your music selection on there. Then there's your engine temperature and service information. And then you have some presets that you can change. You've got some automatic rear view mirror folding during locking. Then there's also a switch for that down here if you want to do that, which is quite handy. Just leave it on auto. Like most things in this car, there's quite a lot of automatic settings. So you have your automatic wipers, which are actually off at the moment. The automatic lights. The auto wipers on. There we go. What can I say about the Pro C GT's interior? Really nice. Driving position's great. Getting nice and comfy, figure hugging seats. There's a massive amount of interior space for cup holders and storage bins, and a full-size camera in there earlier on without any problems whatsoever. Now that we've had a look at the outside of the car and the inside of the car, let's see what she's like on the road. See, I'm going to take it a drive now just quickly and talk a bit more about it, and you know, give you the general feeling of what it's like to drive the Pro C GT. There's a few little things I'd like to just touch upon with the Pro C GT. First of all, big up to Kia for spending the extra time and effort. So there's a few things I'd like to touch upon with the Pro C GT. First of all, congratulations to Kia, because they've actually made a great little hot hatch. There's been a few criticisms of it by many in the motoring press for it not being fast enough, not as quick as the Focus, etc. But it doesn't need to be, because Kia have decided that they're going to be the bigger man. They're not going to chase the power numbers that most hot hatches are after at the moment. You know, when you're up at 300 horsepower, it's quite frankly a little bit too much. So for my tastes, I think I've always been a great believer that a front wheel drive hot hatch should probably not have more than 200 horsepower. Should be reasonably lightweight, really nimble, stiffly sprung. It should just generally be fun, and I think Kia have followed that recipe very, very well. This car has been developed, designed and built in Europe, and you know what? It shows. It shows. It's got decent damping. Got some mud on the road here. It's got some decent damping. It's got some decent spring rates. Gone is the 3-option power steering that you could get on the rest of the Ceed range, because quite frankly you only need the hardest setting to give it that sporty feel. And you know what, it does really feel sporty. For me, it's got enough power, it's got enough torque, especially given the fact that it's a 1.6 litre turbo engine. It's got a decent amount of shove. Granted, it's not going to set your hair on fire, but it's definitely going to give you enough to think about along a nice twisty back road. Unfortunately, where I am in the UK at the moment, so in Oxfordshire, there's not that great roads to massively flex the potential of this car, but there's a few gems around here, and this is what the full throttle movement's all about. It's about engaging drivers in any type of car, finding the driving enjoyment in any type of car, and this car comes with it in spades. It's got the visual appeal of a hot hatch with the lovely splitter at the front there with the red detailing. It's got all your lights. One thing I'd like to touch upon, I've already spoken just when I showed you around the interior about the different modes. You've got the GT button here which changes things, and I mentioned about the sound change. So what I'll do in a second is just as I'm pulling away from this junction, I'll pull away without the GT mode on. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear this. So it's a reasonably muted, it's quite a refined 4-cylinder engine, reasonably muted, but I think when they've put this GT button on here with the additional sound piping inside, and I'll slow down here, see if you can actually hear this or not. can already hear it's a bit more throaty. For me it works. There's a lot of critics of the sound generation in modern cars. Well, the BMW 135i has it, and I didn't even know it had it when I took that for a test drive not so long ago. It was so well produced in the car. This one does feel a bit Gran Turismo in its sound, but it does actually fit the engine characteristics. You know, we're not trying to kid anyone on here. This isn't a smooth 6-cylinder twin turbo engine. It's a 4-banger, it's a 1.6. It's unapologetic for that, but you know what? Yes, it sounds alright. So, go on to talk about, this car's got a special diff apparently, which I'm guessing it works very similar to the way that most electronic systems will work. It'll break the intake wheel and give you the feeling that it's got a limited slip diff. Great. Whatever it is, it works. Whatever it is, it works, and I'm not going to complain too much about it. It doesn't detract from the front end feel on the steering. It points and goes wherever you want it, but also you can be mid-corner and you can nail it and it'll pull you further into the corner and keep going. It's almost like a limited slip diff, but not quite. I'll be interested to try the Honda Type R at some point in the next 6 months to try and feel what that feels like through the front end. Where the top end hot hatch is in comparison to this car. I'm going to touch on a few things here. I'm going to touch on the price. It's for just over £23,000. I'm pretty sure if you were crafty with your bargaining skills, you might get it for a bit cheaper than that in Kia. For 23 grand, 201 horsepower, 260 odd newton meters of torque. Hot hatch, all the bells and whistles. It's got a heated steering wheel. A heated steering wheel, for Christ's sake. Now, this is the 2015 model, so there's a few differences from previous years, but in previous years you didn't have such a, I don't think you had the sound generation. I think the diff, or the front end diff, active diff thing, whatever it is, was different. I think I never drove the earlier cars, but if they're anything like this car, there's going to be decent amount of bargains on the used car market. I had a quick look the other night. There's a 2015 model in white. It was actually really nice. For £19,000, had 5 miles on the clock. 5. Buy it. There's also, I've seen another one. It was last year's model car. 14 grand with 20,000 miles on it. These are going to get snapped up by guys who are keen on hot hatches. They're going to love them. They're going to be buying them in spades as soon as people know about them, because at the moment they're still not that well known. Can't complain about the acceleration. I think my friend summed it up the other day when I took my drive in it. He said that this car sounds and feels like it's going faster than it is, and that's a good thing, is what he said. And you know what? It's so true. There's so many cars at the moment where you take, I mean, the C63 I drove, you know, about beginning of September. That thing just gains speed. It's such a ridiculous rate. It's just almost too much. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'd like to drive one again for a bit longer, but for me, that thing, the way it just grabbed the road and just went for it, no holds bar, you name it, it was gone, absolutely gone. Give the throttle a stab, boom, straight up the road. As long as you had it in the right mode. I didn't for a decent amount of time. We won't talk about that. You know, there's a lot of mud on the road today. There's a lot. I'm in a lovely little sleepy village, not far outside Brackley, and apparently there's some light roads around here. But it appears that all the tractors also agree that there's some great roads around here, which means that there's a lot of mud. Wrong turn. So, what was I saying? Bloody roads. Love them. One thing I will say is these Michelin Pilot Sport 3s, great choice. Great choice. They work very, very well. Although I have to say at this time of year, they're maybe not the stickiest. Once you get right up it though, you have plenty available grip to do, frankly, stupid things. But you know what? If the grip's there, it's better than it not being there. That's for sure. This car's actually got quite a character. I have to say, this car's got a little bit of a character because there's some instances you can hear the occasional pop from the exhaust, but it's not forced. You know, I drove the Mini Cooper John Cooper Works recently, and it was popping and banging all over the place. Popping and banging every downshift, every upshift, every time you were off the throttle. And don't get me wrong, everyone loves a good crackle, but sometimes it can get a bit much. Whereas this thing, I think you have to really work it before it does that for you. So you know you're going somewhere, you get a pop and a crackle from the exhaust. I don't think it's intended. Certainly not manufactured, that's for sure. Tell you what, trying to find some decent roads is quite difficult in Oxfordshire. Now, the very first day I got this car, I actually had to go a long drive up north for business, and you know what, it's pretty competent on the motorway as well. You know what, it kind of has to be, because there's going to be a lot of guys who buy it for company car use or commute to work, and it has to be affordable for them. You know, I was getting about 37 miles to the gallon. I think that's pretty close to what Kia say it should get. I mean, opinions out whether or not that's actually good or not, because my 2001 or 2000 E39 530i gets that easily all day on the motorway. But you know, this is a 1.6 and it's not a small car. It's quite a big car. It's certainly no Peugeot 205, that's for sure. So let's go through some of the pros and cons of the Kia Pro CGT. Some of the pros are price. You get your 7-year warranty and 100,000 miles. Really wouldn't be complaining about that. I would say it's practical. You can get 4 people in it quite easily. 5 might be a bit of a squeeze. Certainly 4. And it's pretty comfortable in the back. Lots of space, decent amount of headroom, and 2 huge cup holders. Door bin, even though it's not a door. Fixed switches in the side, which is ideal. Comes with decent tyres, it's brand new, as I mentioned. I mentioned in my Kia Optima review that I felt that the Optima lacked the option of a turbocharged petrol engine, and that it was a bit flat and low revs, and it didn't really suit the character of the car. Kia put this engine in that car, guarantee you will sell even more of them. 100%, because there's definitely enough grunt from this engine to move a car like that. I mean, granted, you might need to do a little bit of work to try and get the miles per gallon up to pace, but I think you'll be fine, to be honest. I think that it will be a bit of a hit. And obviously this is Kia's first go at something with any kind of potency, so I'm erring on a bit of leniency, because if they start with this, which is a good good first crack at doing this kind of thing, if they've done it this well and they spent enough time and thought process about it, which they have, because the driving position is great, the pedals are great, steering wheel's great. Steering wheel's actually got a bit of first gen Audi R8 about it. If they spend this much effort on doing the next generation of car, if they spend this much effort on doing that, they'll do great. And there's also talk in the pipeline of there being a Kia sports car soon. I'd be really interested to see what that would be like, whether or not it'll be a two-seater, whether it'll be an MX-5 rival, I don't know, but whatever it is, I'm looking forward to it, because they're starting to emerge as a serious manufacturer. Downsides for the Pro CGT: size. It is quite big, and you do sit quite far into the car, which is great for safety, but not so great for overall proportioning. Now, again, I've only had it a week, and after the first day or two, I got used to it, so that was fine. But I think it might take some people a bit longer. Now, second point I would say would be that the brakes, while initially they're great, if you spend any kind of prolonged period of time on a quick road where you have to constant speed up, slow down, you're going to quickly run out of brakes. I haven't done it yet, but I can start to feel the pedal move away from me when the pace increases a bit. That could just be a pad material change. Obviously they need to cater for your everyday daily driver who doesn't take it to the limit every time he takes the car out. So for me, as it is at the moment, it's a package that's hard to beat. There's no need to tick any options because it has them all. The only thing I would say is, while this headlining is really nice, got a plush headlines, kind of memory foam feel, while it's nice, which is a thumbs up, I'd like the option of a sunroof. I would say if there is, or if there could be the option of a sunroof, tick it, because it is quite dark in here, only because the headlight is black. What would also be quite nice is if there's red stitching on this. It'd be nice to see yellow stitching in the yellow car combination. One thing which I thought was great, which is a step out of the norm for Kia, really was the colour. Where have they found that colour from? Because every Kia I've seen is either black, white or silver. There was a funny article, I think it was on Jalopnik, talking about how all Korean cars are black, grey or silver, and that's it. You don't get any other options other than black, grey or silver. And I think for the first little while in the Pro CGT that was the case. You get a couple of these. I think you can get red, yellow, and then your black, red, and silver. Black, white, and silver. Which, you know what? Pick this colour. This is the colour that everyone looks at. You will be noticed in this colour. People will see you. And everyone will look. Everyone I've driven past that has the slightest inclination about cars looks at it. I've had questions at petrol stations. I've had inquisitive looks of friends and work colleagues who would in the car look about it because it is yellow, which instantly means that people want to look at it because they think it's something special, unless it's Fiat Seicento. And because it's yellow, it brings out it brings out a car to a lot of people who wouldn't normally look at it. So you're going to have the likes. Well, you're going to have people who weren't really interested in the car previously. Suddenly have perked up and thought it'd be an option. So if I were you, I'd get yourself down to a Kia dealer and try one of these. You might not agree with me, which is fine. I don't mind. You might not agree with me, but I think you struggle to justify a lot more money spent. Granted, resale value isn't that great, but you know what? I'm not that bothered. One thing I will have to actually ask Kia though is the throttle pedal's got a throttle stop, but there's like a progressive button at the end. Now, I think it has like a torque overboost. It's not mentioned in any of the press literature. I think it has an overboost setting. Also, the torque gauge actually goes up to the 300 mark rather than 260 when it's depressed, but only in, I think it's up to third gear pretty much. So I think there could be like a torque increase, an overboost function, which to me is great. So for me, would I buy one? Yeah, probably would, yeah. Makes a great daily driver. It's a bit jiggly at low speeds, but the dampening, the suspension all makes sense once you get right up it. Like just now, like I've just seen the world's fastest discovery. That guy was on the limit. So yeah, would I buy one? Yes. Should you buy one? I don't know, go and have a look. Go try one out, see what you think. I would. So I'd just like to take a minute here just for a wrap up the video to thank everyone who's watched the video so far, who's clicked subscribe, who's been on the YouTube channel, who's been on Twitter, who's been on Instagram. It was really great starting to develop and build a following. If you want to see more videos from me, I'm trying really hard to get cars from loads of different manufacturers, and every time one of you guys views any of my content and clicks subscribe and comments, just generally Facebook likes it, anything like that, it all makes a massive difference because these guys look at this kind of thing before they give someone like me a car to view. So once again, I just want to say thanks. You can find me on the Full Throttle Movement on Instagram. You can find me at FThrottleMove on Twitter, and then there's the Full Throttle Movement on Facebook as well. So if you like the content, click subscribe below, give me a thumbs up, and hopefully we get some more content up.